Hey folks, welcome back to Smokey and Giraffe's Variety Show, and today we are going to try our luck at our Giraffe's low-carb tangy mustard barbecue pork. Of course, this is found on our Smokey and Giraffe's low-carb kitchen recipe cookbook that can be found on Amazon. Well, my husband does not care for pork too much, and we've had it quite a bit over this quarantine period, so we're going to try to make it taste a little better. That's why we're using the tangy mustard barbecue pork. All right, so we have our pork ribs. I was going to throw it in the slow cooker, but they were still frozen after leaving them out for a few hours. So we thought, we'll toss it into a pan, sprinkle it with some black pepper, onion powder, paprika, thank you Susie Wispy, and some garlic powder. And we're going to go ahead and place a little sheet of foil over it, and we're going to pop it into the oven for about 2 hours on 325, a little low so that it cooks slowly and brings out the flavor. All right, we'll be back in a couple hours. Okay, while our pork is still cooking, we're going to make the sauce, the barbecue tangy mustard sauce. So we have our stove on medium. We have our little pot. We're going to put in a cup of Coke Zero. We're going to add a cup of reduced sugar ketchup. And also a cup of yellow mayonnaise. There you go. We have a little mixture of, it's a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and a half a teaspoon of liquid smoke. I'm going to dump that in. And then for our spices, it's a teaspoon of garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and 2 teaspoons of chili powder to give it a little more of a smoky flavor. All right, so we'll just stir that up. We're going to cook it for about 10 minutes. And then after that, we're going to bring it down to a simmer for another 5 minutes. And that time it should be thick enough to pour over our pork, which should be done about then. Yeah, I forgot to mention, we're going to kind of steer a little bit away from the recipe we have in our cookbook. We have found Swerve sugar. There's brown sugar, powdered sugar. This is amazing for sugar replacement, actually. Has 0 grams of net carbs, and it is very sweet and very delicious. So we thought we would go ahead and put maybe 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar into our barbecue sauce. And just like regular brown sugar, we packed our cup full, and we're gonna try to get it out of the measuring cup without it splashing everywhere. Anyways, we're gonna put this in, and we're gonna stir that up to continue with making our sauce. There we go, finally got it out of the measuring cup. Okay, it fills just like brown sugar and looks just like it too. So we'll go ahead and continue cooking this for another 8 minutes or so, and then we'll go ahead and pull out our pork. We're taking our pork out of the oven, and as you can see, it's definitely done because the bone is kind of it's falling off the bone. So we drained all the grease first, and then let's pan over to our barbecue sauce. It's been on for about 15 minutes, and it's nice and thick. So we're ready to transfer that right over to the pork ribs. Turn that off. All right, so we'll just slather it over or pour over all the ribs, and then we're gonna put it back into the oven for about maybe another half hour or so. Again, we're not in a rush to eat tonight, so we might leave it in there even longer. Maybe start with our salad first. There we go. It's just enough to cover everything. Keep the pork nice and moist. All right, so we'll throw it back in, as I said, on 375, and we'll keep it in for another half hour or so. Oh, we just pulled out our pork after about a half hour in here. I did flip it over once, flipped it over back over again, and now I'm just sauteing it. It is pretty much ready to be served. Look how tender it is. The bones have come off some of the pork ribs. It's going to be pretty tasty. I can just smell that right now. Smell a sweet mustard scent is in the air. I think we're ready to eat. Let's move our plate over here so we don't spill it on the stove. There we go. Put a couple ribs down. Absolutely delicious. There you go. I guess I should show it. Yeah, some delicious pork ribs. Well, for this recipe and many others, don't forget to visit our cookbook, Smokey and Giraffe's Low-Carb Kitchen Recipes on Amazon. Happy eating and have a great night. Mwah.